commonly used, dalawa yan. Mas ang ginagamit dito yung gawa ng American Psychological Association, yung DSM, Diagnostic Statistical Manual for Psychological Disorders. It is on its 4th edition with text revisions, tapos malapit na atang lalabas ng 5th edition. Parallel niyan congruent dyan yung mas international, mas ginagamit sa Europe, na I think sponsored yan ng World, I'm not sure kung WHO, I'm not sure, World Health Organization, ICD, International Classification of Diseases. So it includes both physiological and psychological disorders. But if you look at the categories for both, talagang pretty much the same. Meron lang very minor differences in naming, labels, but otherwise, the same pagtingin. Kasi, syempre, gusto rin na merong congruence. Ang tawag dyan nosology. So this is para rin sa biology, taxonomy, pag-classify, pag-categorize. Ganun rin ang gamit ng DSM. Sa atin, kung tatanungin mo, meron ba tayong local na diagnostic system? Sadly, wala. It will take, kasi kaya naman nagkakaroon ng mga diagnostic systems, bunga ng research. So, it's a very solid database or knowledge base that you have. So, the key there for us to have a local nosology is really for psychological researchers to see that as a valid topic for research. To look into, I call it our language of mental health or psychology, and to see ano yung mga terms na ginagamit natin, assuming na yun if they reflect yung pagtingin at understanding natin sa mga psychological problems, at tingnan kung ano yung congruence with the Western concept of it. So that's an important direction that research takes. Names per se are just depends on who is doing the naming, and depends on the power relationship between the namer and the named. I think someone who names inherently has more power than someone who is being named and being labeled and categorized. And so I do think that the practice of clinical psychology or any discipline that has as one of its primary activities the categorization of human experience. You will have to, it's a very critical thing. It's an issue of power. So it depends on what you're going to use the label or the name for. Certainly, DSM and ICD, the nosology systems, are there to help us describe in much the same way nang may pangalan ka para sa iba-ibang species ng hayop, di ba? At nakakatulong kasi makakatulong sa paglalarawan at pinpoint na ano yung similarities at ano yung differences yung pagkakaiba. Para hindi hodgepodge na, kunyari, kung magre-rely ka lang sa usual pagtingin na, ay, nasisira ng bayan. It doesn't really tell you anything. It's a name that stigmatizes sira ulo, but it doesn't really explain anything or it doesn't give you any indication of what to do about it. At the very least, yung mga categories and labels sa DSM, number one, describe, we call it, I prefer to call it syndromes, and a lot of clinical psychologists prefer to look at it as syndromes rather than actual diseases in much the same way that you can say someone has cancer or diabetes. So it's a syndrome of behaviors, clusters of behaviors and thought patterns and feeling patterns that have been observed to go together. So may empirical basis here that have been observed to go together such that we can say if I see this pattern of feeling, thought and behavior in someone, I can safely conclude or at least hypothesize that perhaps this person has this particular disorder. Does that mean it's permanent? Again, I want to say that's why we have to be careful. If you look at a particular label as a final conclusion, that implies purpose. And so that changes how you treat it. But if you look at it as a hypothesis that can be tested, can be discarded, no? And so the concept of diagnosis is a working diagnosis rather than final statements about what a person is and what a person is capable of becoming. That's a different thing. So to me, the meaning there becomes dangerous when you put a person in the box, that particular category. First of all, even if you have named the disorder, even if a person has a particular diagnosis, for example, schizophrenia, it doesn't mean that that's all there is to the person. Diba? Now, everything the person does can be reduced to the schizophrenia. Some issues, some thoughts and feelings will never be reduced to it and never be explained simply by naming a particular disorder. So again, it's in the use of it, and it's making sure that when you name something, you are not in fact using it as a judgment. Well, as you would note on, usually in research nagbubunga yan nila sa social sciences. I always say the main difference between the social sciences and physical sciences is that it is a reasonable goal for the physical sciences to try to articulate laws of nature, physical laws. It is an ideal that might never be approximate in the social sciences to articulate laws of human behavior. Kasi part of articulating laws is to identify, di ba? Identify the underlying explanatory mechanism. So if we're talking cause and effect in human behavior, it's a very complex issue. Of course, the research shows that some behaviors are underlined by genetic disposition. For instance, schizophrenia might have a genetic link. So might mood disorders such as depression. However, the research makes it a point to say that it's to veer away from, it's like veering away from determinism. Just because someone may have a genetic legacy doesn't mean the person will have schizophrenia. So it's an interaction effect. It interacts with nurture factors. So someone with perhaps a genetic disposition but has a good life, good upbringing, good family life, might be more insulated than someone with the same genetic disposition but and then doesn't have a good family life, doesn't have good relationships with the parents, is not brought up in a psychologically sound manner by the kasi it's very tricky to talk about cause and effects. I'd also like to point out that sometimes when we talk about minana, nasa lahi, we're not actually talking about genetic legacies, genetic inheritances. We're actually talking about behaviors that are learned and are passed on, responses that are passed on from one generation to another. In clinical psychology, one of the paradigms by which we look at helping people is systems therapy. Included in that is family therapy. In other words, we look at a problem, not as a problem of one person, it's a problem of a particular system, in this case, the family. Within that, may pagtingin na some problems are new naman. So that's why it's called multi-generational. Kasi ganito, case in point, my own family, as I was telling you, ang hinala ko sa pamilya ko, aside ng nanay ko, namana doon yung alcoholism. So from my lola to her own sons, may namanan na pattern, specific pattern, not so much that, of course the category, the diagnosis is alcoholism, the label. But ang namamana doon, yung behavioral pattern na pag may problema, iinom para makatulog. Okay? And then, paglawakan mo pa yung pagtingin mo, may cultural factor pa yan. Kasi sa kultura natin, lalo na sa probinsya, na after mo trabaho, kung wala ka na nagagawa, natambay ka lang para uminom. Di ba? So, merong ganon, you set individual psychological concerns or issues against, culture also as a background. So, yun, it's a very complicated issue. You can't pinpoint one.